It's time for lead stories.
January 6 rioters.
Did you know there was a hearing yesterday?
No.
About this insurrection, the brink of the fall of our country.
Yeah, it's primetime television, baby.
Yeah. As
Love it.
New listeners may not know, you can go back and check it out. We were live on January 6th.
Yeah.
And we were reporting
it was happening
on...
as we had other news to talk about. It was happening, and we dropped everything and reported on it live.
Yep. And
and coincidentally, it was way more boring watching it live because you didn't. Nothing was going on. It was just a bunch of people standing around with flags.
We were documenting PBS, I believe, and there was a reporter inside the Capitol building, and they're coming, they're at the door, they're knocking on the door, and then they walk, and then they've breached the door. And there's people walking in, with backpacks,
taking selfies,
taking
with cops,
pictures, and then interviewing a guy, and the guy saying like, "Oh, we're not here for Trump." Like, "Oh no, the wrong thing to say."
Yeah,
they tried to bury that, but we caught it, we documented it. But it's been a while, and been sitting on these jingles and stuff. But here we are, CNN Politics takeaways from the prime time January 6th committee hearing. And I have it's a long clip. We don't have to play all of it, but it's a video of Pamela Brown. She is the CNN anchor / senior Washington correspondent. And so I thought we'd, as sort of a dual layer analysis, not just of the actual thing, but, looking at CNN. We've been tracking CNN and how they've changed their approach. So we'll see if there's any evidence of that here. But here we go. This is Pamela Brown reporting.
Priority. We just had protesters. T-circle, breach the line. We need backup.
Chilling new aerial footage showing the moment protesters breached the Capitol grounds on January 6.
But this is now effectively a riot.
The new video, part of the debut primetime hearing of the Select Committee investigating the January 6 Capitol attack.
Donald Trump, the President of the United States, spurred a mob of domestic enemies of the Constitution to march down the Capitol and subvert American democracy.
The focus immediately turning to the role of the former president in those crucial hours when a mob descended on the Capitol.
President Trump summoned the mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack.
Summoned is a very strong word to use, not just for its magical sort of workings, but to assign Trump as summoning specifically is very interesting.
Some sort of wizard.
Yeah, like labeling him as some kind of magician that summons its people to act, which is
not entirely untrue.
It's not entirely untrue, but also, these people up here are responsible for doing that for just another part of the population.
Of course.
Continue.
Sounds like whataboutism to me, guys.
Committee Vice Chair Republican Representative Liz Cheney referencing then President Trump's alleged 7-point plan to overturn the 2020 election, which a committee source said included possibly replacing the acting attorney general and instructing state officials to create false electors.
Aware of the rioters' chance to hang Mike Pence, the president responded with...
Just real quick on the commentary here of the video footage they showed. It said it was the video they showed at the committee, or made by the January 6th committee. And, it showed the chanting. You can hear, hang Pence. Is that what it said?
I couldn't quite hear it, but that's what she's claiming that it said.
Right. Well, let me play it again. But also the imagery of like B-roll of a noose. For no reason, that's the kind of stuff that they add in there to.
Well, is it the one that was set up? Allegedly, they did put like a show noose, like
as part of the Pence
an effigy of a noose up in front of the Capitol
to create false electors.
Hang Mike Pence.
Aware of the rioters' chance to hang Mike Pence, the president responded with this sentiment, quote, "Maybe our supporters have the right idea. Mike Pence, quote, deserves it.
Testimony also revealed that it was Pence who called Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley, demanding that the National Guard defend the Capitol. Milley had further testified that the president's chief of staff called him to say that they needed to dispel the narrative that the president was not taking action.
We need to establish the narrative that that the president is still in charge and that things are steady or stable or what's that thing. I immediately interpret that as politics. Red flag for me personally, no action, but I remember it distinctly.
That's the Milley quote. That's something interesting. Milley popping up a couple different times on our show in the last week or so. The speech at West Point talking about urban warfare and like cyber clans or something.
Yeah,
robot
I think
wars.
That's an interesting sort of quote from him. We need to establish the narrative,
right,
that the president is still in charge.
Yeah. So, which is again interesting because in this context of Trump bad, he's the one he's trying to establish this other narrative to sort of uphold his agenda.
Right.
Which is like, yeah, everybody does that. What, you guys don't try to talk about a narrative to uphold? CNN.
What aboutism,
Milley,
Gons?
Whatever. Okay. Your whataboutism is a whataboutism. So what about that? How about that?
Yeah, good one.
Previously recorded testimony from former Attorney General Bill Barr disputing the president's claims of election fraud was played.
I made it clear I did not agree with the idea of saying the election was stolen and putting out this stuff, which I told the president was bullshit.
That was
sorry.
the president's daughter.
I completely forgot about that.
It's okay. Keep moving. It's all right.
Ivanka Trump.
Family show.
I respect Attorney General Barr. So I accepted what he was saying.
The committee says the president...
that was Ivanka Trump, just real briefly, because they brought her up. I do have this. There was a sub-headline here. Oh, maybe I just got rid of it.
Yeah, there's some drama, some family drama.
Yeah.
With the Ivanka Trump testimony.
Yeah. Daily Mail, basically, I'll just read the headline because Daily Mail, of course, does a great job of writing paragraphs for headlines that tell us what's going on. Trump throws Ivanka under the bus after she told January 6th committee she didn't believe the 2020 election was stolen. Furious ex-president says his daughter had long since checked out and was not involved in looking at votes. So there you go. Fun. Good times.
Well, it's interesting because when these elite families, I think they kind of have an understanding that at some point they have to kind of watch out for themselves. If it's better for Ivanka to disconnect from her father, that means that it's better for her father in some way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Of course, the media is trying to make this out into some big, family drama.
Oh, I'm sure he's calling her, I'm sorry I had to do it. It's just a media thing,
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen we've all seen Succession. We know how these lizard people families work.
Yeah. Okay, continuing back with the CNN report.
The president had been told by at least 4 close aides that he had lost re-election. Testimony played reveals that at least one individual associated with the campaign even told him he was likely to lose the election.
At some point in the conversation, Matt Oskowski, who is the lead data person, was brought on, and I remember he delivered to the president pretty blunt terms that he was going to lose.
The committee played a huge emphasis on the role of 2 extremist groups, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. Both groups were visibly present at the Capitol on January 6th and were some of the first to break into the Capitol building.
I am not allowed to say what's going to happen today because everyone's just going to have to watch for themselves. But it's going to happen.
Never before seen footage from inside Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's office shows the moment everyone fled the scene. A GOP source with direct knowledge says McCarthy's staff was scared that day, and Cheney stated that McCarthy was calling Trump's allies and family members to try to persuade the president to intervene. Now, McCarthy, along with several other GOP members of Congress, have refused to comply with requests to testify before the committee.
He's patently embarrassing himself. If he were truly a leader within the House, he would want to get to the truth and the facts, which is where he started, but somewhere he went off the rails on that.
The committee also claims that multiple Republican lawmakers, including Representative Scott Perry, were advocating for pardons in the final weeks of the administration. The committee also heard live testimony from documentarian Nick Quested and Capitol Police Officer Caroline Edwards, who were both on the ground. Many Capitol officers were in attendance, watching on as one of their own testified about the extensive injuries she sustained as one of the first officers on the scene.
What I saw was just a war scene. I saw friends with blood all over their faces. I was slipping in people's blood.
A spokesman for former President Donald Trump slammed the January 6th committee hearing as a production, not a legislative hearing, in a tweet suggesting the public hearings won't hold eyeballs ahead of the November midterms. And of course, Brianna, the second one will be held Monday morning.
All right, we got more coming up. Part 2 coming up Monday.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the whole thing was just as boring as this rundown was.
Yeah.
Which was, it's exactly that. It is theater. I mean, you don't put something on primetime television if you're not planning on, distracting people or putting on a show.
I don't think most
whatever.
people. What was the primetime thing before January 6th?
What do you
mean? Do you know? What was the big feature prime time?
Well,
nobody knows. I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean,
I'm saying nobody pays attention.
I don't know, man. It's prime time.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody pays attention to this stuff.
Prime.
So they need eyeballs. They do the political thing. The political prime time is always good for getting attention.
This is a political move. That's why it was mostly sort of liberal mainstream news institutions that were airing it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's bad TV. It was, look, I did not watch it live. I don't even have live TV.
I saw clips coming out. The most provocative thing was that cop lady talking about it was a war zone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay, a war zone. Okay.
I think there's an interesting connection to this prime time, legal proceedings thing that the public was kind of primed for, or I think they were banking on the fact that the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial had become sort of like a sensation, an entertainment sensation. Mm-hmm. People were obsessed with it, tuning into every clip, clipping it, posting on social media. And it really sort of subsumed certain people's life. For a while. It was the most entertaining thing going on in the world. A beautiful distraction from, World War III, our government,
Inflation.
Selling out taxpayers to the military-industrial complex and manufacturing a conflict that they claim they don't want happening. All the awful things happening in the world. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial was a wonderful distraction that really captured people's imaginations. And it feels like they were kind of either on one hand, they were like trying to train the public to stay locked in on televised trials or legal proceedings, or they were just really hoping that once the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial was wrapped up, that people would just have the bloodlust for, live court proceedings. Oh, we just gotta get another camera in the courtroom. It's the only thing that matters to us now. But as far as I can tell, this was like the most boring thing anybody could have ever spent their time watching.
Well,
however,
they need to grab some controversy. So
there were watch parties. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah,
watch
Liz
parties
Cheney.
Basil froze.
Yeah,
he
the
froze
blue
for a second.
check mark. Oh, okay. Am I back?
Something about Liz Cheney, and then you froze until blue check mark.
Yep, gotcha. So Liz Cheney, so there's a tweet from Amy Carney, blue check mark congressional correspondent at the New York Times. who tweeted, Liz Cheney gets applause at a small outdoor J6 hearing watch party. And it's this, and there's apparently at a park involved, at a park somewhere, there was, like a watch party. They set up a projector screen. They put on the trial, and there's maybe 100 people there, I'd say, just sitting on the grass and, I don't know, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Watch parties will become a thing.
If you want to bring it up.
Oh, thank you for that. Just right on your face.
But it's funny because it's... I'm sorry?
The Skype gave the link was just in. Never mind.
Okay.
Go on, finish.
So, there's the link if you want it. There's maybe 100 people in this picture. It's funny how she said she called it a small outdoor J6 hearing watch party, which is, I found a bit insulting coming from like big time Annie Carney, New York Times congressional correspondent, because, there's a decent amount of people there. Whoever put this on really, got some people to come out. But Liz Cheney showed up, so that's a big deal. She got some applause as being one of the few Republican representatives who are, who were always anti the big lie.
Mm-hmm. I'm still waiting for this thing to load. All right. Yeah, okay. Oh, people at a picnic. I was going to say that this is very much what we'll probably be doing in the metaverse, like watch parties, except you're just in your avatar.
Oh, this could very much be a scene straight from the metaverse. I mean, this is basically what the metaverse is right now. You just show up and sit on fake grass, right.
And watch things. So, they got to draw some kind of controversy. So they went to Truth Social, which I think is very fascinating. We always complained about how tweets were news. People would just take tweets and make it news. And this is maybe solidifying Truth Social as some kind of symbiotic thing for media, to continue the Trump hate train going. This is Daily Beast headline: January 6 organizer has meltdown as House committee lays out its case. And it says, as the Jan 6 committee tasked with investigating the Capitol riot presented its case to the American people on Thursday evening, Jan 6 organizer and Stop the Steal leader Ali Alexander had a meltdown on Donald Trump's Truth Social platform. Truth Social, hyperlinked Truth Social. Yeah.
Oh, wow. They really want people to go to Truth Social.
Actually, no. It's to another Daily Beast article about how Trump
lame.
ripped off Twitter or something like that. Anyway, it says, and it quotes all the tweets. Edited audio, he wrote, quote, have you ever seen a video with more fake edits and splices? This video is a spoof. Audio is completely edited. Which is like, all right, Ollie, like every video is edited these days. It's like, you relax.
What was he referring to? Something in the trial?
Like probably some the part of what we saw with the the noose and stuff. I mean, we pointed it out. I think that's what he's talking about. Okay, continuing here. More true. What are they called when they post stuff on Truth Social?
They're called truths. They're truths.
Okay.
Yeah. You truth something.
J6 committee, you won't be getting an Oscar for this hoax. Alexander continued as he sent out a dozen frenzied posts about the testimony. Quote, this is so overly scripted, all teleprompter, no authenticity. This ain't convincing anyone. In another message posted to Truth Social, Alexander, who spoke to the Jan 6 committee for more than 8 hours back in December, wrote, we, did, nothing, wrong, all caps. Alexander didn't return the Daily Beast's request for comment following the committee's testimony. The twice impeached former president likewise attacked what he billed as the, quote, unselect committee, refusing to, quote, play any of the many positive witnesses and statements. Quote, our country is in such trouble, he concluded on Thursday night. On Friday morning, Trump was still livid over the committee's presentation of new evidence surrounding the Capitol riot. He blasted out 8 more messages on his platform, railing against the proceedings.
Like an AR-15.
The Daily Beast needs to get their terminology right. He blasted out 8 more truths. That's what they need to say. Quote, "A one-sided, totally partisan political witch hunt," Trump exclaimed. I'm sure they felt so good writing this article. He then doubled down. One more sentence.
Real quick, back to your point.
Yeah.
Back to your point. The point you just made, where they're calling it messages. He blasted out 8 more messages.
Yeah.
Only now, instead of calling it like a tweet or something, calling it a truth. You truth something out. You post a truth. That actually, in this instance, in this context, is genius, and probably why he
called it truth social.
We have not seen a whole lot of like reporting on messages or truth on Truth Social, because then the outlet has to say he blasted out 8 more truths on his platform.
I think we might have made the point too at the time that Trump basically bought the word truth by doing this Truth Social thing. So as far as a business move, it's quite clever.
That was pretty genius, but Daily Beast is not falling for it.
No, that's the problem. You can't get these people to play along. One more sentence here in the article. He then doubled down on his support for the riot, writing, quote, "The so-called rush on the Capitol was not caused by me. It was caused by a rigged and stolen election," which is like, oh, okay, so you are admitting that that it was a riot. You're not denying, he's sort of agreeing that it was a riot.
He didn't call it a riot.
I know he didn't.
He said the so-called rush on the Capitol.
I know.
And so-called meaning somebody else called it that.
Right. But, it's still not denying it. But anyway.
Well, I think you mentioned this before the show, and I'll just say it now. I mean, the juxtaposition of CNN putting it in their protocols, thanks to Chris Litt, that tweets are not news, at least far right, far left tweets are not news, and backing off on, hey, somebody tweeted something as a breaking news story.
Right.
dailybeast.com, not quite on the same page. And so it goes so far in the opposite direction that now Trump's Truth Social is a source of news. I mean, it is giving the platform some, a level of, I don't know about credibility,
it's
but
not
at
credibility,
least visibility.
But it's visibility. It's a source. It's a place where people can focus in on the love-hate relationship between the media and the Trump machine. It's a target.
Which
Before it was
Trump
Twitter.
loves.
Yeah, Trump loves
that's Trump's whole strategy. That's how he does it. He
knows that they're going to make money.
All the attention on himself and moves it along, moves the story along.
Right. And I mean, as far as the business deal, the news focusing their attention on hate towards Truth Social, they know that they're going to get the clicks too. So he understands that, hey, I'm providing a service for you guys too by providing this platform that you guys can
they've
attack.
Always had there's a lot of criticism towards the media in that, like, oh, you just love Trump. You make so much money on Trump. You Trump. You love him. I don't care how much you hate him. You love him. But it also goes both ways. I mean, Trump loves the heat. He loves the media talking about him, no matter if it's positive or negative. So it's really a symbiotic relationship. And that's something we got to keep in mind when, if you're getting all fired up about the media representing Trump in a way you don't appreciate, just remember he does appreciate it. It's all part of the strategy.
Yeah. One more quick note here as part of the whole Jan 6 thing. Oh no, I hit the paywall. Hold on, I thought I cleared
this over
that.
On Forbes?
Yeah, the Forbes story. Go ahead and tell it, and I'll.
Yeah, I got it here. The headline here over on Forbes: FBI arrests Michigan GOP gubernatorial candidate Ryan Kelly on January 6th. Related charges. The FBI arrested Michigan Republican gubernatorial candidate Ryan Kelly, one of 5 GOP candidates in the state, on misdemeanor charges related to the January 6th riot, according to a criminal complaint filed Thursday. And we got some key facts here. FBI agents raided Kelly's home near Grand Rapids, Michigan, and arrested Kelly, a real estate broker who was visible in videos taken at the Capitol on the day of the January 6th insurrection. The criminal complaint cites 4 charges. Whoa, I got it. They almost got me with a paywall for a second. That was crazy. Cites 4 charges, including disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, knowingly entered or remaining on restricted grounds without lawful authority, and knowingly engaging in any act of physical violence against person or property in any restricted building or grounds. Some of the same charges that have been filed against a host of alleged participants in the January 6 riots. The FBI did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Forbes, but FBI spokeswoman Mara Schneider confirmed the search and arrest to several outlets. Kelly is expected to appear in federal court later on Thursday, the Detroit News reported. Last June, the Michigan Democratic Party shared a video of Kelly in which he appeared to cheer on rioters at January 6, shouting, "Come on, let's go. This is it. This is war, baby." As protesters climbed the steps of the building.
Is that part of the quote? This is war, baby?
This is war, baby. Yeah. I mean, that's what got him. It sounds like that's the most compelling piece of evidence they have. Come on, let's go. This is it. This is war, baby. Which is hilarious and a great example of how sort of the frenetic madness of a crowd can take over. It's kind of like a Dean scream almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, this is war. Really? Is it war? Or are you just like really excited right now?
Really amped. You're the crowd got you going, and
it is. Kelly has said he did not go inside the Capitol building, claiming in an interview with Michigan outlet MLive last year that he left, quotes, once things started getting crazy. You can imagine, hey, we've all been there, man. You're in a crowd, something exciting's happened, you yell, "Oh, this is war, baby!" And then you get up there and you realize things are a little crazier than you expected, and you just kind of moonwalk right out the door. The spokesperson for Kelly did not respond to a request for comment from Forbes.
Boring.
There you go. There's the important stuff. But interesting, though. I mean, he is a candidate for the governor of Michigan.
That's pretty gnarly that they'd go after him and arrest him.
Grab him. Yeah. There's an interesting, the gubernatorial race in Michigan is a really fascinating story going on right now. We're not going to touch on it at this moment, but there's a bunch of Republican candidates that got busted for faking signatures on their...
Right.
There was 10 Republicans set to run for governor, and then 5 of them got busted for faking signatures on their whatever you call it. What do you call it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. But so they cut it down. They cut the Republicans running down to 5 from 10, and then, arrest one on January 6 charges. Now you're down to 4. I'd be sweating if I was one of those 4 other Republican candidates.
Yeah.
Keep your nose clean, everybody.
Yeah, cleans. Keep them cleans.
Keep them cleans.